was telling him that I walked into the mitzvah store here 2 days ago. I wanted to buy a Haggadah, certain Haggadah they didn't have in stock. And so I was looking around the store, and I opened a different Haggadah that they had on display, Nachman Seltzer. I wrote Haggadah, beautiful Haggadah, and the page I opened it up to had a story that compelled me to buy the Haggadah on the spot. An amazing Maisa. He says, there was a woman in London, in Golders Green, and she was a Holocaust survivor. She survived Auschwitz. And when she was in her 80s already, and she knew that, she has a limited amount of time to live, she sent a shayla to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. And I think her name is Mrs. Letter. He even writes her name in the book. I have to call her family to mevar the story, but this is a story he tells over. She asked that in Auschwitz, she held on to one pasuk the entire time in her mind. She kept repeating it over and over again, and that pasuk gave her strength to survive the war. It was a v'chol zois shimcha lo shechachnu. After all we've been through, we didn't forget your name. No, please, al tishkecheni, don't forget me. And she kept repeating it over and over and over again. She said that this is the pasuk that I held on to, gave me chizuk, gave me strength. I want to know if when my time comes, I can write it on a piece of paper, and I want to be buried with that piece of paper in my hand to come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Shemayim and show him, this is what I held on to. I held on to you all those years. So Rav Man, who is Rav Chaim Kanievsky's, right-hand man at the time, so he forwarded the shayla to Rav Chaim. Rav Chaim hears the shayla and he tears up. Mamish tears up. He became very emotional. And he said to Rav Man to tell her that Hashem doesn't need reminders. You don't need to come with a piece of paper. Hashem knows. And also, it might be a pasuk. It's not really a pasuk in Tanakh, but better not. A few months later, the woman said, she heard Rav Chaim Kanievsky's answer. She said, you know what? He's right. God ladar. Don't put the paper in my hand. A couple of years later, she passed away, and before the kvura, they quickly sent the shayla again to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Rav Man, I sent the shayla to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Chaim Kanievsky thinks for a moment, and he says, bury her with a piece of paper. So Rav Man said, they had a chashash, maybe, they wanted to double check. So he said, a while earlier, you said not to. Chaim says, I thought about it. It's true that Hashem doesn't need a reminder, but I want Mrs. Letter, I want this woman to have it for herself. As she comes up to Shemayim, she should be fortified with that piece of paper. That will give her the strength to face, whatever she has to face. So it's for her. And Taka, they wrote it on a piece of paper, they put it in her hand. Chevra Kaddish didn't want to bury her first with a piece of paper, because they said, what do you mean? Everybody's just going to decide to be buried with whatever they want. It's not, you can't. Right. They told her, if Chaim said, Paskin, the God Ladar Paskin, you can put it in, and that's how they Taka buried her. So the idea that a person goes into the kever with whatever they earn in this world, you see the opposite is true too with Bnei Korach, now Bnei Korach himself, that until today, what do they have to say? They have to say Moshe Emes Anachnu Badaim.